Welcome back to Hippie Bliss Travel. Today we're going to be exploring parts of Santa Barbara. My husband and I, neither of us have ever been to Santa Barbara before. We heard wonderful things about it, and driving through this neighborhood, we just like the artwork on some of the buildings, just the style. We found it very interesting, and we made it to the Mission. That was going to be our first stop. Got to do some big touristy things, and neither of us, been there, but we love history. We're not really religious, but we like the history that we learn. And when we got up closer, we noticed this art that is on the ground here. Unexpected, but beautiful. The old mission in Santa Barbara. We've been walking around looking at all of these. They are stunning artwork. Looks like some are schools, some are families, some are businesses, and some are people that have done these. Extraordinary. It looked like it was chalk, and that's what your first instinct was, but it was lightly sprinkling throughout the morning, and they didn't kind of fade away like chalk normally does when it gets wet. So I'm not sure if they put a coating on it or if it was done with something else. But yeah, took I don't know, we spent 45 minutes maybe looking at it all. And I took some pictures of some of them that just the ones that really stood out. Hope you enjoy the little art show. And then after we, took our time and looked at all the art, and while we were looking, three school buses of field trip uh, of students, probably late elementary school, maybe middle school age, came and they looked at the art. They were only there like 15, 20 minutes, and then they headed off, got back on their buses, and went somewhere else. But yeah, we went inside the mission. There is a self-guided tour. There was a fee. I forget what it was, just a few dollars, maybe under $10 a person, I think. And it was self-guided. You got a little pamphlet, and you went to spot number one, and I think it was the interior garden, and it was just self-paced. They did have some audio you could connect with, and if you wanted to hear, listen to it. And it was just very interesting to see. And there was a news reporter was doing an article with one of the fathers. I don't know if it was the main priest for the mission or one of the others, but it very relaxing, very educational. This was like the interior courtyard in the mission, and it talks, about what how it's changed over the years, how it developed, what it was first used for, what it turned. It was a very educational afternoon. And here are some of the highlights of what we learned about the mission that day. The Santa Barbara Mission is known as the Queen of the Missions, and it was founded in December of 1786 by Franciscan friars. It is the 10th of 21 California missions established by the Spanish to convert the local Chumash people to Christianity and expand Spain's colonial presence. The original building was completed, or no, the current stone church was completed in 1820. Uh, in the 1830s, Mexico gained independence from Spain, and the Mexican government basically took over the churches, and turned them over to the civil authorities, which was basically the start of the decline of the mission system, and because much of the land was sold or redistributed. This is the main chapel at the Santa Barbara Mission, and it's open, for the tours. They do say, occasionally they'll have to close it for like a funeral or something if they, unexpectedly. But this is kind of toward the back of the main chapel here. Yes, I did put a few dollars in the donation box. But as you enter the chapel here on one side where you come from the garden area and stuff, there is a door on the other side that enters out into, I think it's the graveyard area or the old graveyard. Because as we walked around, there was people buried there from like the late 1700s on up. Cemetery was established in 1786.
Family mausoleums, a large group mausoleum, as they thought them to be of their ancestors and wished them to have proper burial. Father Virgil Cordano, then guarding this mission, had them removed and returned to the tribe for burial. They were replaced with reproductions. On the wall of the bell tower to the east is a plaque honoring one.
And throughout the 19th and 20th centuries, the Santa Barbara Mission went under, not went under, but underwent restoration and preservation efforts. It remains an active parish. It serves as a historical and cultural landmark. It's got a museum, a retreat center, and actually is one of the best preserved missions in California. It also has a crypt, and they had some openings because you had a pamphlet you could get like either an individual or a little family plot there in the crypt. So my husband was joking. He goes, "Yeah, if you go first, that's where I'll get you a crypt so you can rest in Southern California forever." After coming that little graveyard area, you come back through the chapel, and then you head inside, and they have must like a museum of what the history of the actual history of the mission. They had like a little kitchen set up, with the tools that they used. This map is of all the missions in California, and we've talked about maybe doing a trip or like a 2 weeks where we just do all the missions. But they also had a little video in one of the kitchen room about the medicinal plants that they use and grow, and some that were brought over from Europe and the native plants and stuff. But you got a nice history of the whole history of the mission from when it started up through today.
Is rust or lemonade berry. This is one of the plants that the Chumash women and children would collect the berries, and the berries are this right here. These are the berries, and they collect them when they mature. Then they
And this is kind of the layout of the early mission with the farming and agriculture near it, some of the artwork, and then some of the tools that they used over the last several hundred years. And again, this is a map of all the missions in California. And yes, they end with the gift shop. And we did buy a candle to burn like on the anniversary of our loved ones' deaths, like my brother and my mother-in-law. And we did buy some kitchen magnets because, fridge magnets, those are our favorite. And driving around, they looked like a nice beach hostel for the people that, use the hostels. We didn't go inside, but outside they had a nice seating area, and it looked for a hostel, it looked very good. And then we ended up going to Finney's for dinner that night, and we ended up sitting at the bar. There was a wait if you wanted the table, but hey. And I did get a flight of margaritas. And the food, yes, was also delicious. I don't think we had any really bad food all the whole trip. Everything was really good. So I think I'm going to wrap up this day, our day in Santa Barbara at the mission and the artwork. Thank you for watching Hippie Bliss Travel. If you made it to the end, give us a like and a subscribe. And I hope to see you next week when we continue in Santa Barbara. Talk to you later. Bye.